guys, so today I'm going to be interviewing Max. He has come to visit us for a few days. He's been training Jiu-Jitsu for 16 years, but the last 12 years he got in a bad accident and has been paralyzed since the last 12 years, but has changed his entire game of Jiu-Jitsu, and I thought it would be really helpful to bring to you guys, so hope you enjoy. What's your name?
Maximiliano Ulloa York.
Okay. Max, how long have you been training Jiu-Jitsu in years?
16 years total, 4 on my feet and 12 with a spinal cord injury.
Okay. How did you get into Jiu-Jitsu?
I always knew about Jiu-Jitsu. I thought it was called grappling from the UFC because that's all they said. They never really said Jiu-Jitsu. So I always thought grappling, but there was nothing around my neighborhood back then. So it was always just a seed planted. And then I moved to San Diego, and that's pretty much Brazil down there.
Yeah.
So I went to go train Jiu-Jitsu, but it was like $160 a month. It was too expensive for the job I had at the time. So I started rock climbing.
Okay.
And
you did just Jiu-Jitsu at the time?
No, I started with Muay Thai.
Okay.
And my first class in Muay Thai, I was doing the frog jumping in the warm-ups, but I would jump and then fall down. And then I'd get up.
Leg injury?
Yeah.
So what happened to your leg? I don't know if they hurt. It's okay, we'll slide. We'll slide. Okay.
And basically, when I was doing construction, before I moved to San Diego, I ran a skill saw through my leg. So it was a pretty good. I cut this muscle in half, and I had a limp for years. So when I was doing that warm up, I would take that frog jump, and then I tried to get up, but I would fall down. And I would do like 3, and then he goes, "Stop! What are you doing? What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, well, and I told him the story, and he goes, "No, man, you're gonna hurt yourself. We haven't even started kicking yet." And he goes, "You need to go upstairs and do jiu-jitsu." And I've been meaning to, because it was only $79 a month for all of the whole gym, so it was a really good deal.
That's a killer deal.
Yeah, it was like the grand opening deal.
Okay.
So that's why I signed up.
Fun fact that there's grand opening deals. The one that's in Cherrydale coming up with Professor Nate. Take advantage of the deals because it's not a cheap deal.
Especially if it locks.
Cherrydale, South Carolina.
Especially if it locks you into that rate.
Yeah, it is a big investment.
Because once you start jiu-jitsu, you're there. You're not gonna.
Yeah.
Most people quit, but don't quit because it's addictive.
It is. So
once you see the results,
when you could afford it a little bit more and you had that opportunity, you got introduced because the leg injury was just kind of a little bit of a hurdle in MMA.
Well, I was gonna do it anyways.
Okay.
But I was like fast tracked there because I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
So I went upstairs. I started Nogi 2008, and I did that. I was going through a short sale as well, so I had $1,500 a month that I didn't have to spend on the mortgage.
Oh, nice!
Because you have to let it go delinquent, and so I had every gi on the market. Every gi. Like this was before Show Your Roll.
All right.
I had every gi. I tried them all out, and I'm like, this I don't like it. And I'd go in and go, "What size are you?" A3. Here you go. I was just giving people gis because I don't make money off of people. Once it's done, like I don't like it. I write it off.
Yeah.
So then I would see people that needed gis or they had a stinky gi, and I would give them a gi.
Yeah.
I had mats. Thank you, sir. Have a good night. I had mats on my I gave her everything except the kitchen. That's my domain.
Okay.
So my house was empty, and I could either buy a bed or mats, and I bought mats because I'm moving anyways.
Oh, okay.
So I bought mats. My room was 10 by 10 mats. I had a grappling dummy. I had all the different gis.
So you had like the jiu-jitsu
Oh, I knew. I was there for life. I knew that from the first class. I'm like, and I saw this black belt makes that much for teaching. I said, I'm gonna be a black belt. I was like, when I was going through a divorce, I said everything is yours. And instead of buying a bed, I bought mats. And I had mats. I had the big grappling dummy. I think it's called Big Bubba. It has where you could armbar and it goes back. Like, weighs 90 pounds. I choked that thing every single night. My chokes they got so bad. Thanks, brother. Have a good night. My chokes got, and I had every book and DVD. Like, I had everything because I had the money to buy stuff.
Yeah.
So every night I choked that thing, and I would move that. I would go train 6 a.m. and do a private lesson on Mondays. 6 a.m. classes, 6 p.m. classes. Come home about 9:30, and then I would drink because I'm going through the divorce.
Yeah.
And my brother lived with me, so I called it beer jitsu, and then I would start showing him everything that I would do, and he's very flexible.
That sounds like a really safe activity.
It's not it's not the best story or advice.
That's gonna be on a shirt.
Don't do it. Right.
Beer
And
jitsu o'clock.
but then my brother would go to sleep, and then I would stay up with that dummy, drilling all my stuff. And
So
then
after the drilling and all of that, you moved from over there to where?
from
Not Miami.
no, I stayed there like the 4 years in San Diego. On my feet, I went from Victory to then I switched academies to Gracie Maita. I was actually going to both at the same time.
Okay.
And then I was going to, it was actually Fit downtown with Leticia Ribeiro.
Okay.
And then I got a spinal cord injury in
How did that
2012. I was at a Cinco de Mayo party, and I mentioned I was a rock climber.
Yeah.
I did a lot of parkour. I did a lot of break dancing, a lot of capoeira. So, and then I was in construction, so I was in legit shape, plus jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And then my dad passed away. So my dad got cancer, and I spent the last 11 months with him, and he ended up passing away. And my dad was my best friend, my only friend, because I'm that middle child, so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just always every day waiting for my dad to wake up, and then I hung out. And then we'd watch Yan Ken Cook and People's Court, and then so my whole life he's always been that, like, my best friend. And when he passed away, it started spiraling, I would say. I definitely got into some bad habits. But I was training jiu-jitsu, and when my dad passed away, I started realizing I got to eat healthier because he died from gastric cancer, and he's had like 4 or 5 heart attacks before.
And so that was during the spiral that you had the accident?
That I was just being more reckless. And so I went to that Cinco de Mayo party, and the railing or the balconies in California, they're not railings probably like they have here where they're small railings. They're like stucco ledge.
Yeah.
So I'm always dangerous. I used to sit there and sit up there. Everyone would go to sleep. I'd sit up there and look at the Mexico's lights and stuff. And I got up there full in my lotus position and hanging out and drinking. And I just lost my balance, and I fell off the second story, and I landed on my butt. So when I landed, it went up my spine and blew out my T8 spine vertebrae.
And now, how much of your body can you use now?
Just a third. So for my sternum up, basically my lats, my pecs, and my upper back, my arms.
Wow.
So I don't have that core to hold.
Yeah.
I'm always having to hold myself up with one arm.
Yeah. So from that, coming back to jiu-jitsu after knowing what it was like to train with your full body, what kind of mental battle did you have to work through?
Well,
knowing that you had to change up your entire game.
I think I was gifted the ability of just moving on. I think it has to do with being that middle child, because your older brothers get the new BMX bikes and stuff, and you get a yard sale bike, and then the younger brothers too young, so then you know what I mean. So
Yeah, yeah.
I was always used to just like
Going
having to
with
deal with
whatever,
whatever came my way, and that's what happened. I hit the ground, and I tried to get up, and I had a rib because I popped a rib like a few months before, and I thought that just came back. So I couldn't get up, and I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, wait, that's not just a rib. Like, I can't move. Maybe a tree's on me or something. And I tried to push something off, and I felt my own private area, and I jumped back because I thought I was touching someone else. And then I'm like, that
Because you
doesn't.
couldn't feel anything.
Yeah, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. No one fell with me. And then I realized that I can't feel my legs. So I looked up at everyone's looking over, and I said, no, I can't feel my leg because I felt fine. Once you broke my back, I don't have any pain except for that little rib pain because you don't feel anything now. So at first I was like, I'm all right, and then I said, no, I can't feel my legs. Call the ambulance. And the time it took them to come outside around the townhouse, I didn't, without exaggerating, I went like this. All right, we're on a new path now. And then I've been hurt so many times. Like,
you just had to go with it.
You got to wait for the paramedics to come and all that.
Confirm what you thought to be.
So I'm waiting and I'm joking and laughing like it's just whatever to me. And they came. I hear them coming down, tuk, 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 the gurney. And they come up and goes, hey, are you okay, sir? And I'm like, yes. My name is Maximiliano. I just fell off that balcony. Obama's the president. And then I passed out. And then I woke up in the ambulance like, where are we going?
You knew everything until you passed out.
Well, I was waiting for them, and now I'm in good hands.
Oh, so
and now I could let go, and then because I knew it was serious. You know? So once I was in good hands, then I could
Yeah.
And then I went in there. Now this is to answer your question. The long story to your question, it was almost comical. I don't know if it was the morphine.
Oh.
Or I never stopped thinking it never entered my head that I wasn't going to Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
Like, I remember people visiting me like the first 2 days. Like, they couldn't do surgery until the swelling went down. So for 3 days I was on that morphine button. Like, I don't even remember, vague in and outs.
Yeah.
But I remember having the thought that, I can just throw my leg over their shoulder. I didn't think about bones. I'm thinking it's like going to be like a rubber band. Or like your belt. Like I could just throw them over, and then I could choke them, like do triangle chokes. And I didn't even think about the bones
in there.
And so from the very beginning, I was like already adapting it, already thinking like that's, even though it's ridiculous what my mind was thinking. But
so it sounds like even being a middle child or having to learn to adapt and go with it was probably your biggest strength because your setbacks, you've been able to just kind of roll with the punches and just expect that you're going to have the change and go with the change.
Exactly.
That's life.
Anything. My entire life has been that way where I get in some trouble and I'm just like, it's going to be a memory eventually. And that's really what life is all about. If you don't separate emotion from facts and then just line item the facts and start chipping them off. See what you can do in there and then cross them out and then chip away at the rest. And then before you know it, you're I mean, if it's a death and someone special, you take the proper mourning time. But at some point, you're going to have to move on with life.
Now, for those that are, like we were talking about earlier with your story, they're attempting to either come back to Jiu-Jitsu after something pretty hard happened, or maybe they are in a current situation that's hard, but they're starting to think about, what if I can do what Max does? Like, what if I give it a shot? But they're not really sure, like, how to get through the mental battle. What would you say is a good tactic for them to overcome that little hump of, like, questioning whether they can even do it, or how to even go back to it after such a big change has happened?
Well, one, if you have any more mobility than I do, then you can do even more than I can do. I was fortunate to fall with 4 years experience, so I was able to kind of answer the questions from the inside, you know what I mean? But if you have trained before, you know that all you got to do is show up.
Yeah.
You know that that's just what you have to do, because jiu-jitsu will take care of the rest.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't, you don't know about that. You don't know how special
And for
it
those
is.
who haven't, how would you go about bringing them in, feeling stuck or feeling defeated by life?
Usually it's a safe environment. It's knowing that you're safe, knowing that you're that it's not, because people are afraid to get hurt again. You know, something serious happens, they don't want more. You know what I mean? I'm just a moron that's like, what's next?
Throw my leg up over there.
But I would say basically that one of the things I like to share and do is you send me a message, I'll help you find a local academy near you. Talk to the instructor. I'll set up a free trial, and then if you stick it out and you start training, I'll work with that instructor to modify techniques, to use the techniques that I do, to encourage you and so on. It's not just training; it's also the recovery is important. You have to know, if you're an instructor with someone with a limitation that comes in, you got to remember that they need energy for everything. Like you get up and walk on your legs, give your arms a break. Like I'm nonstop working out until I lay down. You know, that's one thing that why I do jiu-jitsu is because I can relax on the mats. I don't feel pain when I'm in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And so my so I don't feel pain when I'm in jiu-jitsu. So that's something right there. It's a distraction. It distracts you from everything. And I'm in pain 24 hours a day. I get oddly, once every few years, I'll get I'll wake up and I'll be zero pain. I don't know what aligned. I mean, nothing. Like, I feel normal, and I just sit there all day. You think I would go do something, but I just sit there, enjoy it all day.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to come and train jiu-jitsu, just send me a message. My you'll have my link on there.
Down below.
And I'll help you find an academy. We'll talk about your limitations. I'll contact the instructor, and then I'll help them find an academy. And then, not to mention, now that's just if they're going to train at a local academy near them.
Yeah.
I'm opening my own classes at Hillion Gracie in Missouri City. So Houston, I'll be providing. If you're in the Houston area, I'll have all of our academies there. Will start developing a program, like my program in most of the academies, but I'll be there. So, so basically, just reach out.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, if you guys are curious to know what it's like with spinal cord injury, anything where you feel like there's going to be a limitation in your game, reach out to him. Max, it was so awesome having you on.
Yes.
We'll make sure to attach everything down below and make sure to give him a follow as well on Instagram. Thanks, guys.